Good morning, everybody.
Good
morning,
morning,
Greg.
good morning, good morning, love. How are
Love
you?
your jacket. Very
Thank you,
nice.
thank you,
You look
thank
so
you.
spiffy.
And you look marvelous, darling.
Thank you. It
Marvelous.
was a rough day, a rough morning, rough
And
3
I
days.
was going to say, even having a rough week.
Oh my God, we'll talk about it in a little bit. I have a very nice, well-dressed man sitting next to
And
me.
she loves a
And
well-dressed
I
man.
love that.
I
His name
just
is
tossed us all.
That's all I got to say.
Mike Simmons from Equitable.
Nice to meet you.
Thank
Good
you.
morning. Good morning.
Good
You're
morning.
adorable. Love the red tie.
And so are you.
Well, thank you, sir.
Greg, I won't say it, but
Oh,
you're
Greg,
kind
Greg,
of cute
he
too.
does.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I needed that
pretty
right
nice,
now.
actually.
I had a rough morning myself.
Well,
Yeah, we
Dealing
all
with
had
this
a
one
rough
over
morning.
here.
listen,
Yeah.
I just
Nah.
want to say one thing. You probably don't know anybody that got stuck at the window of Wells Fargo Bank on Saturday for 6 hours and couldn't get out of the car because she was right up against the window. And my
What do you
car
mean she's up
seized.
against the window?
Me.
Oh,
I
you.
was right up against the driver,
Yeah.
car seized. Could not get out because my car is very full of, it's my office. So I could not get out, the car seized, the bank was closed, and I had a rough day for 5 hours in the car while the men behind me were trying to rip off the ATM. So I called the police. So then the police came. The way I usually do things, I cause a ruckus. I caused a ruckus.
I could imagine you causing a ruckus.
And, between me, the car, the tow truck, I couldn't get out of the car. I had to be towed out in the car from the bank.
Sent
And
it prom night.
so let's all lock hands because
All right,
it's like
there
a
we
great
go.
weekend.
There we go.
Only to mention that my car is seized and I don't have a car. And
Yikes.
that's why I was sitting on the cans outside this
Yeah.
morning.
I was
Red
waiting for you to sell
rescue.
pencils.
Panhandling. I thought that was you.
I'm
So
telling
it
you.
was a rough weekend, but you know what? I'm fine now because I have a very dear friend. His name is Greg, to really help me out. And so now my car is in my brand new living room because I just had a flood.
Oh.
And now my car, now that my house is done, because I have a very good friend that helped me out,
Isn't
now
it
my
great?
car is in my brand new living room, dining room, beautiful flooring, full of shit in my living room.
Ah.
Because my car had
I didn't realize how much stuff, I swear.
He almost raped
Look,
yesterday.
I kind of got a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And I'm sitting there and I was really, really exhausted. I mean, from the night before.
Poor guy.
And I turned around and I said to her, I said, we have to bring the car to a mechanic. And so all of a sudden with that, I mean, 1, 2, 3, everything was great, blah, blah, blah. The guy came over and she said, can you take some of my stuff out of the car? You thought the guy was like, I thought it was like a moving company.
Yeah.
They brought, listen,
Poor guy.
you
It was like
can
that
imagine
car, the
this,
circus
yeah.
with all
You
the
know, like a
clowns that come
circus,
out?
like a,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was
Oh,
it.
you would have died.
Baby Grand comes out.
Yeah, you have no idea.
A family of 12.
So last night,
Korea, everything comes
Yeah.
out.
he did so much for me, but I needed help to kind of reorganize this. So I called Geneva. Thank you, Geneva. She's, you know who she is.
Yes, I know.
She's very nice, but she could be tough. She walks in, she goes, you have 13 minutes. I'm like, oh, I need a half hour. She stayed. She helped me organize, but, things have happened to me lately that are just odd.
It happens.
This
Yeah.
was odd because it was one
That's
thing
right, it
after
happens.
another.
That's exactly it.
But
It
when
happens.
you have good people around you, it all works out.
For the
So
best.
thank you, Greg, for
Oh,
the help.
stop.
Thank you,
know,
Greg.
And
You're
thank you,
welcome.
Geneva. Even though she was mean to me, I said, "Don't make me cry." She was really
She
mean.
uses that all the time and it works
Yeah.
on everybody.
Well, no,
I use
but
it all the time and nobody cares.
No.
I was gonna say,
But
They
no.
make me cry. Like
I was
they
gonna
want
say,
to see
everybody
me
care?
cry.
no, but
Yeah, they
every
wanna
now
see
and
me
then
cry.
I did cry yesterday, but by myself. I don't do it in front of people. I cried alone. And now I'm fine because now look at me. I'm surrounded by two very
Listen,
nice
if you're
gentlemen.
happy, I'm happy.
That's all that matters.
Somebody said that to me recently. That's weird, but he wasn't.
Greg?
No,
I-
no, it was it was sarcastic. So you said it nicely.
All right.
No, I mean it. I mean what I
and
say.
I don't mean it.
No, I'm not talking about you.
Whoa.
You're
You guys
fired.
are friends, huh?
Somebody
fine.
Way to
said
go.
it
Who
to
needs
me
friends like that?
recently, and you know who it is. We don't
Yeah,
both
rough
know
crowd,
who it is.
rough room, rough
I got
room.
you.
But
I got you.
there's two ways. It's like saying forget about it. It's either forget about it or forget about it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's one or the other. But you
Yeah.
said it in a nice way. If you're happy, I'm happy. So anyway, thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
And it's going to be a good show. Well, we have, we're basically open to discuss lots of things. We're waiting for someone else. If she shows, great. If she doesn't, oh well.
All right.
So you live in West Hempstead, or you did live in
I
West
used to live in West Hampstead, yeah.
So-
As a youth.
As a
as I
youth.
say,
Well, I
as a
lived in
youth.
West Hempstead, but
Yeah.
not as a youth.
And,
I was here for 47 years.
Oh, wow.
No, not 47, 27 years.
My mom was West Hampstead till a few years before she died, from 76, 74 till 20, let's see, 2020, 2017.
I don't know her from the supermarket.
You might
And
have
then
bumped into her,
you
yeah.
lived
Or
on
a
my
church.
aunt's block, the Tassoni block.
Yeah.
So this is hysterical.
It's a small world, as they say.
And I got you through Patricia, who's in Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you
Sometimes
like
it's
that?
great
Patty,
school.
thank you for introducing me to this lovely man.
Hey,
Now,
Patty.
you know Patty for,
Hey, Patty,
you know
how you
Patty for
doing?
a long time?
Since
High school?
since
Really?
grammar school, yeah.
Now, what was
Well, I
she
moved
like?
down to the
What
Bronx.
was she
Oh,
like?
Patty.
Tell me the truth. I mean, we're talking about years back. What was she like, truthfully?
I know what she was like.
Like she is now, but without the wheels. But she no, she was.
Oh, God.
Uh,
Okay,
She
here
was
we
always
go.
a pisser, always,
Patty!
always the life of a party.
Yes.
Always, when Patty showed up, you knew it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
And she was just a genuinely good person, but
Yes.
loved
Well, you
fun.
can see
Really
that.
loved
Oh,
fun.
yeah,
You can definitely
Patty.
see that.
Well,
was a
she's
lot of
loving
fun,
where
yeah.
she is.
Yeah.
She made a nice move. We miss her, but she was
That's right.
she was
Beautiful,
the,
sunny Florida.
she was
Right.
the director. She still is from afar, the director of community research for the club, Breakfast Club.
All I know is that this is a breakfast club and there was no coffee on the table.
Well, this is
I was a little
true.
disappointed.
You know
Don't
what?
forget.
I gotta
Some
tell you
breakfast,
something.
let me tell you.
It's her fault.
I had a cab today. All right, I didn't even. I
I know,
practically
you had no car, your
I
living
know
room is all
nothing.
vercocked, you can't find your stuff. I know.
exactly, and the poor guy,
And
the cab,
Steve is not giving you enough
said to
minutes
him-
of the day. It's all right, I know.
and
I
the
know.
cab guy was kind of nice. He was a little guy, and I said, I could hardly get in this. It was a little cab because I have.
You know, it's time point.
I couldn't get in it. This
Okay,
little
to
cab.
get in it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So
Okay.
I said to him, "Would you do me a favor, get me a cup of coffee?" And he started shaking like I think he was afraid
Wait,
of me.
was he an older gentleman?
No, he was a young, nice man, but
Was he good looking?
no. But bottom line is, I
You
You
said,
take
have,
one-
some,
you
you
would
have,
take
you
one
have
for the
something
team,
against
right?
ugly people?
no,
Yeah, I'm
I
telling
said
you.
to him, I'll
Oh,
give
you
you
don't know.
$5.
Pick yourself.
I said, I'll give you
That's
$5
racist.
If you show me, if you
if
love me
you
long
go
time.
in and get me a cup of coffee. He goes, oh, no problem, man. He was shaking like this. So I don't know, maybe I
That's why
scared
you
him.
shaking.
I guess I don't know why I scared
Maybe
him.
maybe he has a neurological disorder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's right. Let's
Now you
look at
make
it that
fun
way.
of him.
Did I scare you?
No,
So
but
far?
I don't scare easy.
Well, I know I could tell.
I grew up in the Bronx and then transmuted to West Hempstead.
Yeah, well, West Hempstead's a little corny, but I grew
Don't
up.
say that.
No. Oh,
It's a
wait,
lot of
I
corny?
came from Floral Park, so it's a little corny. But I love it. I was here for a long time.
She got a lot of nerve.
Yeah. So,
It was corny.
so now I understand that because I didn't really need you to today, that you changed careers.
Yeah, I was. I'm a financial advisor with Equitable. And we'll get into what I do over there in a minute. But I came from many years. I spent the majority of my years from the mid '80s to 2013 on Wall Street, institutional business, buy side or the hedge fund world. Launched a startup with some hedge fund guys that we took public in '06. Mostly in the world of derivatives. And then I got sick. Well, I was sick. I was diagnosed with MS in 1998.
Sorry.
And then that's my big overlap with Patty, right? That's my big
Really?
overlap.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's my big overlap.
So you met at a big conference, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
lost touch with each other since kids. And I met her at an MS conference, and I was like, wow, Patty Matt. She's like, hey, how you doing? And we started chatting, and we got back in touch again. And just while going on one of my annual visits at MRIs back in 13, the last time I worked on Wall Street, we found my first brain tumor. So for the next 5
Wow.
years, I left the street, and I was battling reoccurring brain cancer. And then, a couple surgeries, a year of high-intensity chemo and radiation, and then a little stroke from the
Oh,
radiation.
so you went through,
You went
quite a
through
bit.
It was pretty wild. Yeah, it was pretty wild. It was a good ride, though. So,
Whoa.
I can tell you, though, without having lived with MS for the prior, what was it, 98, 08, fingers and toes, 15 years, I don't know if I would have been mentally prepared to deal with the amount of crap that came with, with dealing with cancer.
Yeah.
And MS kind of turned my life around in the late 90s and got me focused on being a better person and working with purpose and having a good life and things like that. So I wanted to work with purpose, and I learned to persevere. I could tie my shoes, but it was tougher. I had to learn to tie them again. So I only wear lace-ups, right? I'll never wear slip-ons because I have to make my fingers work, right? That type of thing. So anyway, so I left, I left that world, and when I was cleared to go back to normal life, God knows what normal life was or is, and I was talking about going back to the world I knew, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to just roll into a 14-hour grind to get a paycheck.
Yeah, that's a rat race, right? What you were in, right?
We're all rats, but yeah, it's just the way. And it was a race to the bottom. But anyway, I wanted to do something a little more different, a little more meaningful, something that contributed to people themselves and my community. And so however, I found my way into financial planning and financial advising. I did, and I wanted to focus on, my big focus, along with my partners, is financial wellness for families with special needs and disabilities.
Which is big.
Which is an overlooked portion of that whole financial advisor practice and business. Most people look at a family that has, it could be MS, it could be Parkinson's, it could be autism, Down syndrome, whatever, but they just, there's nothing I can do there, right? And there is so much we can do for those families. And I'm speaking here today not as an advisor. I mean, I'm going to talk about some things I hope to educate people and give you some thoughts to think about, but more of as a member of our community, right? I'm a member of this community. Besides having a disability, which really doesn't slow me down yet, I've been fortunate in that regard. I have family with Down syndrome, with autism. There's so many people right now that autism is becoming a very prevalent issue in so many families.
It really is popular.
Right?
And it's amazing when I forgot what the commercial was. Every one, at first, years back,
it was not a
they
big
would say
thing.
1 out of 1,500 or 1 out of 2,500. Now I think it's like one that has some form of autism. I think it's 1 out of like 20 or 25, where it's really...
Yeah, it's very popular.
Yeah, that jigsaw puzzle has gotten bigger and bigger.
You know what? I didn't realize that's what it meant was that jigsaw.
Yeah.
And I saw a friend of mine, and he had this big tattoo, and I'm like, since when are you into puzzles?
Yeah,
I said,
Since I had a kid.
Yeah, and he did that, but he has a few kids that have it. Yeah. But they also say that, I don't know the way they put it under whatever kind of umbrella.
Right, the spectrum.
Right, and I don't understand how that...
It's big, that spectrum is so big.
It's the severity of the disease and how it affects you will put you on the spectrum. So if I'm at the upper end of the spectrum, I'm relatively unnoticeable.
Right.
Highly functioning with what we consider to be normal practice. The further across the spectrum you are, I hate to say the word down, okay, but across the spectrum, the more intense your autistic symptoms may be, and the tougher it is to rationalize or to manage into the social situations. Right? It's not that people with autism can't learn. It's not that they're dumb. They have structure that they need, and that's something that they've been missing. Like the whole autistic community with with COVID, just pulled these kids out of the structure that they knew, and it was devastating to a lot of families.
It is, and not only that, then now they're thinking of cutting.
It's
the services.
Listen, I'm very much involved with Kiwanis, and we have something. We have many things that we. Now I'm forgetting the train of thought because I have so much I have to say. We have the Camp Kiwanis. We help the underprivileged children.
Yep.
We send them to camp.
Yep.
We have. Look at this, guys. I'm really today. My brain is.
Well, because you had to deal with me for 3 days. Poor guy, really.
And you had coffee. I don't know what's going on.
No, it's tea.
That's tea. He doesn't drink coffee.
That's what happened.
We have a pediatric line, KTP, Kids Trauma Unit. We have an action club.
Okay.
And you know what? There's an action club that's right here. And these are adults with the mindset of a child.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you something. I love them to death. They remember my name. They they want to play games.
Yeah.
And you know what? I didn't know what autism really was, so on one hand, I thought it was something that was really, really like, oh my God, they're going to have bad outbursts, or, you know, but it's
Some
not.
do, but not everyone,
It's not.
right.
And I got to tell you something. I love my action club, and they're adults. See, the thing is that when you were mentioning before, who takes care of them? There are parents that just like kind of walk away.
Well, they don't know.
Well,
A lot of them
they
know.
don't. I mean, the problem in the past has been medical science has not caught up to the place where it is now. So now we can diagnose these things so much earlier. Sometimes you go back 40, 50 years, you wouldn't even know the kid had autism until it might have been
Right, well, they were too
fourth
late.
grade, fifth grade,
Right,
and
it
the
was too
teachers
late.
would get mad because he's not paying attention.
Yeah.
But it was he had
Yeah.
autism. Now we can diagnose these things pretty early, which is so important.
And
Yes.
you're saying it even as the child is in your belly.
Right.
You can diagnose it, and it's. I'm
It's
sorry,
pretty
but
intense.
Before we go
this,
further, you
just
gotta
forgot
get
to
our
do this.
regular-
I
we
got
forgot
it. I'm
Yeah.
definitely all over the place.
That's all
I
right.
have
Don't
to-
be. Hey, we all can change it.
We have
With
today
us.
is National Do Something Nice Day,
Okay.
which I'm going to be super nice to you today.
Yes, you are. We gotta go for a call.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the Metro card, man.
Hey, you're gonna go.
over there.
And you'll be nice to Geneva. And
That's
you'll-
it.
and you'll,
Oh, Geneva. Yeah, she's mean
Yeah.
last night. It's all right.
And then National Fruit at Work Day. Did you bring any fruit?
I didn't have a car. Otherwise, I would have
You
brought
brought everything
a
else.
cup of coffee and you and fruit bowl.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
I
Yeah,
know.
right?
Way
And
to go,
then
Valentina.
National Get Funky Day. That's every day she.
Well, I'm
kinda-
funky, except
yeah,
I
she is.
look corporate today. So I match you. I match him
That's
today.
it. And then we have a special birthday today. My wife, Carol Ann.
Carol
She
Ann.
turned 48. She'll probably kill
Happy
me for
birthday,
saying
young
it.
lady.
And,
Carol Ann, she's such a
she gave me
beauty.
2 beautiful kids, and she tolerated me. Well,
Really?
I tolerated her.
Whatever.
Because I'm easy.
I'd say that the
So,
scales
yeah.
are like this, probably.
Yeah, but I just want to say thank you. Have many, 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 many more birthdays, and I wish you the best. And thanks for taking care of the children the way you do.
Yeah,
And
happy,
she does. All those kids are
yeah, happy
gorgeous.
27th anniversary to your 21st birthday, Caroline. Good job.
And then we have Mary Ann Hawkins.
Harkins.
Harkins.
Harkins. Mary Ann, my little doll. Blondie.
That's Jerry's.
Jerry's daughter-in-law.
Daughter-in-law.
And she's a beautiful girl, blonde. She's an exerciser. She has a show twice a week on Facebook, and she's just a lovely girl.
You know,
Happy to have you in my life.
I have to say something. Tonight I have, I'm the new lieutenant governor for Kiwanis.
Of course you
And
are.
so,
He's everything.
and tonight I have a very, very important installation. Well, all the installations are
Yeah.
important. And of course, out of everyone I have to do the East Meadow Club, and they're a very, very big, strong club in our,
Yeah, they are.
in our division. And figures I have to have that one to be my first. And it's like I couldn't sleep last night. I see Peter right now just joined us, and I'm like, Peter, you got to help me out tonight, okay, buddy? Please. He's going to be our next president of Kiwanis International. We're talking about the.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really
Pretty
big,
big
guys.
group.
And his brother's going to be governor.
A lot of
It
people.
just, it's become a family where I've joined many, many clubs. I'm still members of everything, good standing, and this organization, I didn't realize that they were very sincere. And now, don't get me wrong, you always have fake people in all organizations. But when I was sick, they were calling me, sending me food. But then I'm sitting here saying to myself, you know they want something. They want something. And to make a long story short,
That was a bug.
Yeah.
You just killed it.
yeah, I just got it. And then they're very sincere. I mean, don't get me wrong, when people hate you, it doesn't matter what club you're in, they hate you.
Yeah.
You know, or they're jealous of you, whatever. But for the most part, I have to think that, you know, the Kiwanis family, and she's going to be a member soon.
Yes, we're
And
looking
you're
for
gonna
new
be-
members.
You're going to be a member.
Yes.
Okay.
You didn't even know
What
that.
the hell?
yet. But that's
Whatever.
look, I'm in.
I'll
He's
try
easy.
I'll try anything twice.
Yeah.
Hey,
You know
we
that.
talked about that, right?
That's it.
I think the
I'm
first
not
time you
afraid.
might not have been in a good mood,
I'm not afraid.
you know. She goes, I'll try anything.
I'm in a different
Look at
mode.
her.
You know, I do it all. What the hell? The only thing I won't try, I will not ice skate. And no way, ever. And I really am not into flying out of a plane. Anything like
You
that.
get out of the plane. Well,
No.
I mean, it just, you don't have
But,
that
you know,
on your
I'm
bucket
pretty
list.
well open to a lot of things, you know. I am. You know that.
Yeah.
I am. But I never was before.
All right.
See, going through shit helps you. And then writing your story helps you. And then you raise.
Yep.
That's it.
You raise. So you have
The
quite
past
a...
makes the future.
Yeah,
the
you
past
have
makes
quite
the
a
future.
story because you were ill and you're better.
And now I'm
now
trying to
you're...
work with my community.
How do you feel?
I feel great.
Now,
I feel
how did you know?
absolutely great.
How did you know you had it?
I didn't. What, MS or brain
MS,
cancer?
MS.
MS, I was in my office off the trading floor. We have these little glass boxes over off the trading floor, and I had my team in there, and I was ranting and raving about the losses for the day, whatever, and I had a whiteboard on my...
So you were one of
I had
those-
a big yield curve.
you were one of those
I have a
really-
yield curve, which is that thing you see on the news and has the little
Right.
marks, right? And I'm looking at the yield curve, and I had a marker in my hand, and all of a sudden, as they say ranting, I say talking loudly, but I had my arm up, and as it was up, I just lost control of this arm.
Really?
And I couldn't feel it. And then I could feel that numbness spreading across the left side of my body into my
That's
leg,
like heart
my
attack
face. It
material
was
right
like
there.
really weird, everything. And I was like, oh my God. And I assumed it was a brain tumor because my dad had a brain tumor, my aunt had a brain tumor. So I was like, all right, I have a brain tumor. So I wrapped up the meeting. Everybody thought it was a joke, and I was joking around about the losses because I lost control of my arm. I just made a big line down the board, and I wrapped it up, and I went to my doctor, well, my local doctor at the time, a GP, and he worked really hard to earn the title doctor. So I decided to always call him by his first name, Monty. And
Monty, that was my daughter's dog's name,
and I walked
Monty.
into Monty's office, and I was like, look, I have a problem. He's like, what's the matter? I said, I've got a brain tumor. He said, you don't have a brain tumor. I said, I have a brain tumor. I know brain tumors. And he goes, you don't have a brain tumor.
So you were just joking like that
No,
about
no, I
oh,
was
you were
very
really
serious. I
about it.
believed I had a brain tumor. And he said, you don't have a brain tumor. I said, dude, my aunt, my father, I'm due. And he said, you don't have a brain tumor. Trust me. I don't know what's wrong with you. I could have told him that. And but I'm going to send you to a neuro, and we're going to run some tests and this and that, but relax. And so I went to a local neurologist in Rockville Center here, and went through a whole battery of tests, cyclosteroids. A month later, I come back to his office, and he says, well, and he says, good news, it's not a brain tumor. I was like, great, what is it? And he goes through, well, it's not Parkinson's, it's not ALS, it's not Lyme, it's not, and he goes through this whole litany of things it's not. And I said, well, what is it? He says, it's MS. I go, great, you know what it is, now what do we do? He goes, well, not great. You know, this is 98, it was a very different time.
Yeah.
And he said, and I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, we really don't do anything. There's a couple of, there's a few drugs out right now that are showing a little promise in slowing the disease down. And he gave me a bunch of pamphlets and stuff on them to look through. And then at that point, his voice went to Charlie Brown's teacher. And I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, oh shit, I just bought a house. I just bought a new house for my new family. My kids were 2 and 0.
Wow.
I was 35 years old. I was in the prime of my career. Excuse me. And I just was trying to figure it all out and just trying to digest it. And then I zoned back in and left, and I thanked him. Excuse me. And as I was walking through his reception area, I took notice. All of his patients were all in wheelchairs, or they had assistants, and I was like, wow, this is my life. Now what? And I went downstairs to the parking lot, and my wife was there. She drove. She knew I was being there, and she was there with the kids in the car. And he said, so what is it? I said, it's MS. She said, and she just got out of the car, gave me a hug, and said, we'll get through it, don't worry. And it was a tough time. It was definitely a tough time.
Wow.
So I spent the year in the Nile, which is more than just a river in Egypt. A little bit of a self-destructive time. And then about a year later, I had my snap out of it moment, right? My Sharon Moonstruck snap out of it moment. And I was watching TV, and I saw Lance Armstrong win the Tour de France. And
Right.
back then, it was like a little 30-second clip of this guy who had cancer, and he rode a bike, and great. I was like, well, if this guy had cancer across his entire body, I could ride a bike and maybe get better. So I got into cycling, long distance cycling. I started to get into it, and it just changed my perspective on life, and it gave me the will to find the perseverance to move forward.
That's terrific.
And be a good father, be a good husband, be a good friend, and really understand for the first time why I'm working, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it actually gave me the impetus to take risks, because I didn't know how long my runway was going to be. So if there's an opportunity, take the risk and seize it. And it allowed me to just learn more about life. And I became ingrained in my community. A lot was MS, just because, you know, there's more than one person an hour today being diagnosed with MS in this country. It's pretty intense. By the time this show is over, there'll be nearly 2 people have been diagnosed with MS. I mean, it's wild. It's not to the rate of the autism, but it's an incredible diagnosis. And luckily today, there are so many drugs out there that are incredible disease-modifying therapies, okay, that allow us to keep our symptoms at bay, slow down the progress of MS, slow down our bodies trying to attack it, you know, trying to attack our nervous systems, and keep us strong. It's a very important thing. We're making similar progress in the space of Parkinson's and even ALS. People are living much longer than what they would live 10, 15 years ago. And same with cancer. We're getting very smart about the ways to treat cancer. Down syndrome, autism, I think, just to name a few. So it's a very interesting space, and there's so much science and so much support there that we can easily make a go of things, right? So I wanted to get back into this space. So once I got cleared to come back to work after, after brain cancer, which I called Monty the day I was diagnosed, and I called him up and I said, do you remember in 1998 I came into your office and I thought I had a tumor and you said no? Well, I got one now.
Wow. Jeez.
Whoa.
So
Wow.
He was laughing. He goes, hey, well, I guess I can't always be right.
Wow. So
Yeah,
you went
I was
through
like-
surgery.
And then I went for surgery, and then I
and-
had a reoccurrence 19 months later. I went for
Oh,
another
geez.
surgery, and then I
Nice.
took a year of high-intensity chemo and radiation together.
Terrific.
And,
Wow. Look at you now.
And
Yeah,
like
you
I
look
s-
great, though. I mean,
Really, would
Well,
never know.
well, great, but you haven't seen me naked, so it's not that great.
Wow. We can arrange that.
See,
I'll be in
look,
the
look,
room.
look,
We
look,
can
look,
arrange
look,
that.
look, I told you. And she'll do it more than twice, okay?
Don't threaten me.
So, okay, so now you're well and you feel great.
And I'm
And
great.
you
And I
embarked on
wanted-
a new
I
career.
embarked on a new career because I wanted to I think I learned a lot of good things while working on Wall Street, while working in the markets, while doing what I did. And I wanted to, with as much as science has moved forward, a lot of things in the market have moved forward. And we have technology, and we have a lot of opportunities for structured strategies. Like I was a derivative guy my whole life. So I love taking things and turning them on its side a few times to figure out how we can make things that don't happen easily still happen. And I fell in love with trying to help families with people like me,
Wow.
people with young children. I've done a lot of charity support for the Little Village School. If you
Oh,
know
you
it,
know
I
them very well.
Yep, and I know John Feingold well. He's one of
Yeah.
the finest human beings on the planet. Shout out to John. But their school is incredible.
Yes, it is.
And what they do for these children is unbelievable. And I was like, if I could help those families, because that school is there to help these families, right? That's what it's
Definitely.
there
They have a
for.
great network there.
You know, it's an incredible school. So I look at and I look at families in that situation who may not have the privilege to make it to a school like that. And money doesn't solve all your problems, but
That's for
it can
sure.
prevent a lot of things from happening. And I've seen too many times, just in my time doing this work, where I'll give you a perfect example. You see a family, 2 kids, right? Both parents are working. 2 kids that have a third kid. The third kid has some type of an issue. Could be autism, could be Downs, could be anything. And just by your human nature, the parents gravitate to this third kid. All
Yes.
their attention is
Goes
focused
with,
on their
right,
third kid.
the other two go away.
And one of them a lot of times has to stop working. So the whole financial situation is compromised.
Yes.
Then the parent that is working maybe needs to change jobs or cut it back, can't progress in their career because they need to be there as well. But all of those changes are kind of based on that third child.
Right.
Now, while all that's going on, they're having a rough financial time. The two other kids are feeling a bit disenfranchised. The family becomes a bit fragmented. And a lot of times, though, those two older kids, they don't do the best they can. They just don't have that dual parent support. They don't have mommy and daddy to treat them the way that they know they were treated. And sometimes they begin to resent their third sibling. And it's not intentional, it's just what happens. So, just a trip to the beach. Or maybe
It's not easy,
not
yeah.
a trip to Hawaii. Okay,
Right.
we're not going to have a trip to Hawaii, but maybe, camping at Hither Hills. Just something to get away for a few days. The Catskills, anything, but just to be a
Right.
family again.
Yes.
I can't afford it. I don't have the time. How do we make it happen? And then as that child's growing older, right? We have a lot of state agencies in New York, especially in New York. There's a lot here to offer support. But at one point, that support stops. That runway stops, and you're on your own.
You have to be your own advocate.
Yes, you 100% have to be your own
I know
advocate.
that,
And that
yeah.
starts with planning. We understand it's tough to think about this stuff, right? It really is tough to think about it. But when we're dealing with a family member with MS, I use my own personal thing, or Parkinson's, which I had in my family as well. How do we know we're dealing with this issue? We can't bury our heads. We have to deal with the financial end of this.
Right.
And planning. Also planning for this kid now
In the
you have three
future, right?
siblings,
Right.
right? That same example. Suppose one of the support mechanism dies. Suppose they're incapacitated. Suppose the person that's now the breadwinner, even though it's been compromised, becomes incapacitated. Now what?
Right.
How do we deal with that? And even suppose it all works fine. How do you deal with the long-term care issues of that person?
Right.
If you were never going to pass before your children, if you were never going to pass before the person you're a caregiver for, how do you deal with the long-term care issues, right? Because all those facilities, long-term care insurance and disability, all this stuff is not available to those people.
No, and you
it's
need
not
to have
there.
a fund so that this person
So
is taken
how do
care
we
of.
structure and build strategies to support the whole family, the mechanism, the wellness of your entire family? And that's what I work with people on. Myself and my partners, we
It's
work
great.
with people on trying to figure that out. And there's no recipe book here. Everyone is individual. There's
Right.
different needs, different lengths of runway, different situations, and we need to figure it out. And that's what we do. So, but this whole, the whole point of this conversation is to say, hey guys, we need to think about the future, not just the therapies, not just the medical, but the financial aspects.
Right.
We need to think about that. And it's so
Because
important.
stuff happens like that, and then
Yeah.
where do you go from there? Now, do you also do regular type
Oh,
of
I
people?
do a lot.
or just
Yeah, we do a lot
people
of
with
regular.
disabilities?
Yeah, no, I do. I focus a lot of my time with my partners on families with special needs and disabilities. And to be honest, it's a lot of work that's not
I've read
the
about it.
biggest amount of revenue gain for us, but the most important thing for us. It takes a lot of time, and
Yeah.
if you can imagine, if you sit down with a family that's dealing with these issues, it's
They're a
half-
nervous wreck.
it's half a
Mhm.
financial consulting and it's half a therapy session. It's a
Right.
really
Well, you
and-
sound like you could be a
and to
therapist,
get
too.
and to get to the bottom of the issues that we have to begin to address is a lot of talking, and people have so much to say, but they feel like they shouldn't be saying it. They feel that maybe they're
Embarrassed.
criticizing their family.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is, but people need to just take a deep breath and talk about their issues.
Right. To
So-
communicate. That's the big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
But
but let
we
me
do
ask
that
you,
work.
when you, I mean, this is not something that, just in general, how do you handle situations where if things are bothering you, do you feel better yourself personally when you talk about it with someone? Well, honestly,
I 100%
I do
definitely
too.
do.
Yeah, I do too.
And I can tell you the toughest part, though, this is going to sound weird, the toughest part is actually talking about it to your family, right? Like, I'm supposed to be, and I came from a very old school, I may be the last generation of that school, I'm not sure, but, we had my daughter, my wife stopped working. She was going to be the stay-at-home mom, like my mom was, right? I'm going to take care of the family. I'm going to provide
Yeah, so
financially.
you were it.
And
Right.
I'm going to be the rock for my kids and for my wife, and I'm going to be that person. So it's very hard to say to the most intimate people in your life that you're weak or maybe you have a crack. It's hard. So whether you can talk to them or not, or be that open, you need to talk to somebody.
Definitely.
You need to have that best friend. You need to have a therapist. You need to have somebody. Like, I have a person that I can talk to about
anything.
everything. Yeah.
See, for me, I got to tell you, I mean, even though all the health issues, now I can say that.
Yeah.
Before.
I would
right.
never, you would, listen, 52 surgeries, 3 heart attacks, 2 strokes, defibrillator, all this stuff, port, you name it. I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
To tell people that, like, I was weak.
They
You
were
understand?
broken. You don't want to say
and,
it broken.
because you look at me and you go, oh no, he looks good, he's whatever, in great shape, blah, blah, blah. And I just wanted you to just keep thinking that.
Yeah.
And because one thing I didn't want was I didn't want someone to feel pity or feel bad and you know, it's not, I mean, am I taking it more to the extreme
But
level?
they don't.
Yes.
But they don't.
But
which
sometimes,
is the interesting
and
thing.
then no, you're right. And then you have some other people that it's really sad to say, but they're happy for you. They're glad.
Yeah.
That you know what, you are broken.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the
You know what I mean?
wackos.
Those are
And
the
that's so
wackos,
sad. And that's just. And
Yeah,
you
but
know
I'll
what?
tell you something, Greg. You know what's interesting? When you can finally be open about it, and you can have these discussions with other people in your community or in that circumstance, you begin to now be able to help them.
You're right. That's what
You
happened
be able
to me.
now. You
Yeah.
give them a place to come and talk.
It's very true.
Because I get it. Like there are so many people I know that go, oh, I understand how you feel. You can't understand how I
No,
feel because you don't
absolutely
have
not.
MS.
Right.
You didn't almost die twice.
Right.
You didn't-
Exactly.
We get it. But I appreciate you having empathy. But when I speak to somebody who is in my situation,
It's different.
Well, that's
They
different.
get it.
Okay. Someone that understands your situation.
right, which is
All right, I'll go.
which is why I
I'll-
focus on this side of my work as well, because I
Okay.
kind of understand
Where they're coming
what
from.
people, where they're coming from. So I can relate with them, right? I can get it. I can begin to understand what you're thinking. But just to circle back to Valentina's question, yes, I do work in, I do a lot of retirement management, especially
Okay.
at this time, because everyone's scared of losing their retirement money.
Everyone's scared now with
Okay,
everything.
that we worked on, and how do we preserve
What's
or
left.
minimize downsize, but still make money, or still be exposed to the market to make money, because you can't do it in a CD, you can't do it in bonds, you can't do it
Right.
now. So what do? And we have, I'm 58, I've got maybe 30 years left. I don't want to outlive my money, right? And we have to find a way to keep it growing, because costs are going to keep going up, taxes are going
Right,
up.
right.
Everything's, milk is going to cost $6, $7 a gallon in 15 years. Who knows, right? So it's what are we going to do? So I work in that space. Young families, family planning, insurance, building self-funded pensions, taking advantage of different pension structures for people who are retiring, ways to maximize your pension, which people really don't think about. It's either option A or option B. There's many other things in the middle there. Small businesses. With small, mid-sized businesses, I deal with the company benefit plans, 401ks,
you really are
all
very,
that type of good
very
stuff. So
diverse.
I have a few partners, and we can focus. Each of us has a specialty, so we can focus on. We all know the business, but we each have our specialties, and we fill the gaps.
That's
So
terrific.
where I may take a lead on a family with special needs, someone else may take a lead on a 401k client. Someone else may take a lead on pensions for law enforcement. Someone else, we have people from those backgrounds, so we
good to
can
know.
work that out. So we do that, and we do it, and we help people with their estate planning and trying to
So you do that also?
saving for
That's really important.
Do you do?
I don't have I'm not a lawyer, although I play one on TV. Although we work with a couple of really trusted
lawyers, like putting a house in trust?
Yep, trusts, wills. I actually, We also have stepped into doing some guardianship work, some court-appointed work, things like that.
Oh, you're very
And we, so
well suited.
we have a broad practice, but we can focus specifically on specialized things because what we each bring to the table,
That's
which is
terrific.
nice, right? So, and we recognize the fact that every situation is different.
Mhm.
So there's nothing, whereas, and I'm sure people have gotten a lot of calls or robocalls, you should do this, we should do this.
Right.
There are no shoulds. Everybody should do something, right?
But you
There is
don't.
no should.
Right.
And the reason there is no should is because nobody really understands how that TV commercial they saw or that phone call they saw actually applies to their
Exactly.
situation.
Until it happens.
It begins with a conversation.
Yes.
It begins with a conversation.
And
You know,
isn't
my
that
doctor-
life
you know,
conversation?
My doctor used to say this to me. There aren't many doctors that have such great bedside manners. That's a fact.
Yeah.
And
I
you're
fired a
talking
few
to
of them,
someone
yeah.
that, listen, I gotta tell you, I had one and he's still, I mean, he retired now, but he's the only doctor that literally would check your legs and then go on your back and tap, see if you have water in your lungs. And nobody does that now. Everybody just sends you for a test,
And
the results,
medicine.
they read the
Yeah.
results and then they prescribe.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
And not realizing how important that is, where it's like one of my doctors married this woman, she was a great whatever, and then she had MS, I don't know, and it got really, really bad.
Yeah.
And the family, I mean, it was just a major turmoil, and then they ended up getting divorced, okay? Then he met another
That
woman,
happens
she
very
was a
often.
sweetheart. They're skiing, she hits a tree. Becomes a paraplegic, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. So now that didn't work out, ended up getting divorced.
Yeah. That
You know?
happens a lot.
And so, but the thing is, doctors or attorneys or whatever, people that are, I can't say well-to-do because not everybody can afford insurance.
Right.
So when you have people that just say, for instance, on Medicaid or is it Medicare,
Medicaid.
Medicaid, you turn
Those are
around,
the real low ones.
what can they do? Because they don't have 401ks, they don't have
Nope.
whatever kind of pensions, they don't have annuity, whatever it is, how can they
How does
benefit
someone on
and-
Medicaid
and
really
to,
do?
to get some
Well,
kind of,
we really
financial
deal with their
relief?
families. We deal with their families.
Mm-hmm.
Who's taking care of them? Yeah, yes, they're on Medicaid, but who's their support system?
Right.
Yeah, but a lot of them don't have anybody.
Right.
That's
The
problem.
Medicaid,
That's
the only thing
problem.
good about the
You know?
Medicaid
So
is
what can you
everything's
do?
covered.
You know,
For your
that's
illness.
Every-
where the real, I always say, and it hasn't nothing to do with someone being poor or blah, 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 but there are tons of benefits that are out there from the government provides a lot of things.
Yeah.
I don't care who's this, that,
Yep.
you know, they turn Republicans, Democrats, liberals, whatever. There is, when you go out there and you search, but not everybody could afford to.
Yeah, and it's
that's
and
the part where
it's-
it hurts me,
Oh,
it bothers me.
It does.
Tough.
I mean,
You know?
as just a citizen in our country, it bothers me. As a citizen
Right.
in this
Right.
state, it bothers me. But, there's and I hate saying this because it sounds callous. It's not meant to sound callous. We can't save the world.
Well, that's very
Right.
true, but
And
Yeah.
I try to focus on
what you can do.
what I can. And when
Right.
I look at families who are, they're dealing with their contemporaries in their family. I'll give you a perfect example. There's, what happens. I had a good friend of mine, my probably best friend with MS, and he passed from complications of MS about 2 years ago,
So
2.5 years
sorry.
ago.
Sorry.
And his brother and sister were both the primary caregivers for him. And you have Medicaid, you have Medicare, but they don't really provide the right things for you.
Right.
They don't provide the right air mattress. They don't provide the right catheters. They'll give you the ones that they say cost the right number.
Mhm.
But if you want the stuff that makes you comfortable,
You have to
you
spend
got to
money.
pay up. You got to
Right.
go and buy it private. How do
Right.
I do that? I want to have a specific type of Hoyer lift that gets me in and out of the bed. Not
That's
coverage, like all
exactly.
different things. So
Right.
with the support system, you can manage
Somehow.
with the support system and the right type of a state or special needs attorney, you can structure various financial
Funds,
things
right?
to deal with that.
Mm.
Yes.
And also, just in case one of them disappeared, how do we cover that need, that
Yeah.
gap in
That gap.
care? So
It's-
those are all things. It's tough.
Catherine Sagakos.
Yeah, Catherine Sagakos, my
She
best
said,
friend, yeah.
thank you so much for all your assistance with my family's financial portfolio. Finally, peace of mind.
Wow.
Yeah, so you know what?
That's a
Thanks.
See,
compliment.
that's really, that's
Hey guys, that's
You know,
pretty good.
yeah,
Thank you
definitely.
very much.
I want to give some quick shout outs to Rosemary Gridley. How are you? On Kool-Aid. I'm glad you're watching. Teresa, Gina, how are you, hon? You know Gina, and Vinny.
Oh, she,
And,
She's actually,
and then
she might be
Denise,
interested
how are you?
in
Denise
talking.
Saba, good morning, love. Heidi, it was really nice to see you yesterday. Susan Pinky, she's a
Ah,
she's something.
Susie.
Yeah, she's something, I gotta tell you. Michelle, Karen, how are you, hon? I miss you. Jerry, Bob, Wade. This is a very dear friend of mine. He works for the government and used to live here in Queens. And one day I'm in a Sam Ash store. And this is how sometimes, you know what, you're in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And yeah, Sam Ash. And I play drums. He's a singer. His wife's a great singer. And I got to tell you something. This man makes music. I mean, I don't know, he was a blessing. All of a sudden, he's playing the keyboard. And I said, hey, do you want to play in the
Jam.
band? Do you want to play? And I said, want to play in the band? And we could just do a couple jam sessions, whatever. And he was like, sure. And meanwhile, he looks at me, I look at him, and me, I mean, I talk to a tree for crying out loud. And I'm just whatever, friendly like that. And that has to be about 20-something years ago. We played, and there was a guy that was playing with us, and this guy thought he was like Hootie and the Blowfish. You know, what's his name, the singer? But he wasn't hooting or tooting. He just kept drinking water, and we were like, listen. He goes, oh, my voice is a little, and we laugh about it all the time. And his family became my family, and vice versa.
And he's watching
And
today.
he's watching. Wade, I love you. I really love you so much.
Hey, wait.
You know, and Bob D'Amato's watching. How are you, Bob?
Hey, Bobby.
Bob.
Gonna see you Saturday. Another
Yeah,
repeat.
That's right.
If you
That's
want to
right.
come, we have a great night out. Soriso's Restaurant.
Yeah. So, and then we have. We just have a few quick ones over here. Rozzy, Jose, Chris, Sal, Scarborough, Sally, Cadena, Gene, Stan, David, Anthony, Peter Mancuso, Wilfred. We have Maria. Hi, Maria. How are you, love? John, Dennis, Karina, Robin, another Maria, and Brenda Lee Johnson. I love you. I
And
love
the
you. I love you.
governor.
She goes, I'm really, really sorry that I'm late. She said, I apologize.
Aw.
You're forgiven, love,
Sweet.
love.
Wait.
So sweet.
Deborah, Lisa, Deborah, I miss you. I wish you'd come. They had a great Rosedale party here, and she was missed. And Deborah, I do miss you, and I wish you would come by one day. I know you're very busy. Rapsy, Phil, what's going on? Thanks again for all your help, Phil. Sabrina, and I think I got it. If I missed anybody, I'm really, really sorry.
So we have a lot of
So,
fans, and they're
yeah,
listening
so-
to you today, which is great.
And we put
Well,
up
thanks, I
how
appreciate
they can get a hold of you with your phone number
Yes.
and everything like that.
And I want to say a thank you to
Volvo's always the best to get me on. I'm
Yeah.
always on the move.
Okay, Jerry Ferretti. What a nice night out
And
the other
Jerry,
night.
how are you, Jerry?
It was great. The Breakfast Club loved you. They were talking about him and his buddies and Mr. Ferretti. He's just it.
Yeah.
He's got a nice little band that came the other night.
So you sing, I heard. I heard you're a great
Yeah,
singer.
so sing me a tune.
I sing like.
Sing me
they say-
something
They
sweet.
say I sing like old people make love. Slow
Whoa.
and sloppy.
Well, that's not so
Hey.
good.
You know
I
what I
never
mean?
heard that one before, but I like
You
Yeah,
that.
can
what do you
sing
like
to
that.
me. I'll take a song.
That's it. She'll take it slow and sloppy. Okay.
Hey, listen, there's a new thing in town. It's called the East End Food Institute. Kate
What is that?
Fulham.
What is that?
It's a place where they, they planting a lot of vegetables and growing
Right.
these great things.
Oh, nice.
But it's out on Southampton. But she wrote a whole article today. It's about peppers, and Italians. I don't know if you're Italian, are you? Or no. You look it, but
He'll
you
be
know.
whatever- he'll be whatever you want him to be.
It's in it. Yeah, it's in it.
That's Hungarian.
Oh, well, you're European, so then you like peppers. So it's in
Yeah.
they have this place called Blossom's Farms, and they have all these cherry bomb peppers and poblano peppers and all this stuff. And she's like, they're wonderfully hot. They
long as they're
they
hot, I'm
add
good.
warm to your
You
winter
don't like it?
meals.
Oh no, I love hot peppers.
Do you
Yeah,
really?
everybody
Yeah, I love it
loves
too.
hot peppers.
Yeah.
But it's just
My
the way
kids love it.
it's the way she's talking about it, but it's out in Southampton. And if you take a ride out there, it's a nice place to go because it's quite pretty, and they make this mustard horseradish, which is very, very popular It's
I
called
said we
Holy
take the show on the
Schmitz.
road. Have it
Holy
from,
Schmitz. That's the name of the
Holy
grocery.
Schmidt, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, she's a very pretty woman, and she is the executive director of the East End Institute, and she may be coming on soon. So
Great.
I thought I'd give her a shout out.
I have to give you a shout out, LaShawn. This is a young lady. She there's a gym that I go to, and I just try to go there just to get a little cardio, ride a bicycle. I can't really do any kind of weightlifting or anything. And I would see her every time I go, and she's a security guard, security officer, and she just waved at me. Waved, and every time I go, I see her, we waved, and today we had a conversation. I pulled over.
Ah, nice.
And I gotta tell you something, this young girl, this young lady, she writes music. She said she doesn't. I asked if she could sing. I think she does sing. But she says whenever you have karaoke, when everything's back to normal,
Yep.
and you have open mic, she goes, I have tons of singers and blah blah blah.
That'd
And I
be
gotta tell you,
great.
when I just looked at her, and she's such a sweetheart. She says there's a reason why, and I know I said it. There's a reason why we do meet.
Yeah.
You know, I don't necessarily
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
in coincidences
Right.
and things like that, but she's a sweetheart, and I got to tell you, I learned so much about her, and you know what, I wanted to come on the show.
Just because
I
you
wanted-
had the
yeah, you know what?
conversation. I want to
wanted
meet
to
her.
come on the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wanna
she's
meet
a
her.
little sweetheart, and sometimes you're very shocked.
When
The people that you meet
But you
in
didn't know
places
it.
where you would never expect to meet.
Right,
Yeah.
that happens to me.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, do you have any children by any chance? I didn't.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, my daughter's 25.
Okay.
My son's 23. My daughter graduated Fordham undergrad and grad a few
Beautiful.
years ago.
Whoa.
And now she's working for WeWork. She manages one of their properties.
Huh?
And
So she definitely takes after
operations.
mom, right? With the brains, right?
She definitely does. I'm the mess.
Did your wife ever go back to work?
No, no. Now she's working part-time at Macy's. She did,
Oh,
well,
okay.
not say part-time, full-time, so.
So
Okay.
that's good. So she has
And
something
my
going on.
sons went to BU undergrad, School of Engineering, graduated
Excellent.
mechanical engineer,
Whoa.
4-year rugby
So
player.
you're not proud at all.
No,
Yeah,
not at all.
And now
Yeah,
he's
that's what I say, yeah.
wrapping up NYU grad industrial engineering in
Jeez.
December.
Your plan is just to
working
keep
on
them in your
yeah,
life.
working on a 4.0.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Congrats.
And hopefully by the time I get old and broken down, they'll be around to take care of me
That's
someday.
Yes, well, that's
We'll
it.
see.
You hope that
No,
your
but
kids...
they're great kids. I love them. And the best part about, listen, I wish everything I went through, I wish it on everybody with the
To
same
wake up
outcoming.
To wake up and smell the
Because
coffee, right?
you realize how valuable time
Every
is, how
day
valuable
is,
your family
right.
is, and how proud you are. Like my whole purpose of staying alive, and I've said this to my kids, is to see what they do. Like I'm done. I'm
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
Like
right.
I'm on my
You're not
third
done.
chapter.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm done.
you
I'm
are
on-
not done.
I'm
She'll
on the
let
back
you know when
nine,
you're
right? I'm
done.
on the
You are
back
not
nine,
done.
right? I'm on
Well-
the back nine, but I want to see what they do because
Yeah.
I lived for them, and I want to see what
It's
they
true.
do.
That's
it's
such a
true.
nice
I
way
turn
to
around
put
and I
it.
said to my kids, my kids, they get very, very nervous because of my health, but I tell them, don't ever worry, because it's true. I'm not ready to go. I'm not. And I'm just telling you, I'm not ready to go. And my kids say, Dad, how could you say that? I said, very simple.
He always says
I
that,
need
yeah.
to see you guys have children. Now, I want to be a grandfather.
Yeah.
More than anything in this world. My two older ones, I don't think I'm going to see kids anytime soon because
Yeah.
they're just living
They're
their life
beyond,
right now.
yeah.
And they're not young. They're almost 30. What do you mean young? I'm talking about the...
I said the
I
beyond.
said, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
And then so the little ones, my daughter always says to me, she goes, Daddy, I know you're probably not going to like my boyfriend or my husband, so I'll have a couple of kids and I'll come live with you. And I said, that's a good idea.
Nah.
I'll take care of them. But, no, but it's true.
Yeah,
I
we want to see what they do.
I want to see
We wanna
what
see what
they
they
do.
do.
Well, I'm
That's
seeing a
my
lot.
biggest
Becomes-
impetus to
what
stay
becomes of
alive,
them,
to
yeah.
want to make it. That's
Yeah.
it.
Well, I'm in
So,
that prime. I'm my daughter is 46 years old.
You have grandkids?
I have two grandkids.
Yeah,
Wow.
she's very-
13 and 11.
She's very lucky.
16 and 11. And
Wow.
She
I
really
can't
is.
even believe what I'm watching, but they're great. And
incredible.
they moved on me, believe it or not.
Oh,
They
wow.
left the home. They moved to Maryland, which I'm not happy about,
Yeah.
but I'm getting used to it.
You'll get used to it. No,
Yeah.
you can
Eventually.
visit. No.
Every day on the
Nice and
show,
busy.
somebody
It'll be
gets
good.
this present for me, and it's always the same thing.
Okay.
It's Italian bread.
Italian bread.
Because
I love
you have
Italian
It's
to
bread.
like
break-
5 years old.
No,
but
it's not. This is
not
actually-
Well, I need a doorstop so I can use it
Voila,
there
there
too.
you go.
This is actually from Salvatore's, right down
Fishing,
the block.
put it down to the bottom with
That's
the
it.
crab
Listen,
trout.
by the
And
way,
you're gonna
There's
love
so many
this-
things you can do with
You're
stale
gonna
Italian
love this
bread.
bread. But anyway, it's because I believe in breaking bread with new
Boy,
clients.
thank you so much.
And so this is for you, and this is so you don't forget how we look. And if you know any other people that are interested, here's our
Absolutely. Well, thank you for
And it's a
such.
great experience.
Look at
isn't it?
that, party gifts.
That's
Look
it.
at that.
Well,
That's
that's
very
right.
nice.
You know, that's
2
the old
bricks.
This
fashioned.
bread
Two
feels
bricks.
soft. I
Yeah,
like
it
it.
is. It's
It's
actually
very nice.
You're gonna love it.
Thank
Put
you,
it in-
Salvatore's.
Put
Thank
it
you.
in the toaster oven.
Yeah,
I will.
that's it. For
And with
3
a little
years.
butter and jelly.
I
Yeah,
definitely
for
will.
3 years.
So,
So,
how do people reach you? Where's your
Thank
office?
you. My office is in Woodbury. I didn't really get too deep on actual looking at use cases because this isn't the forum. This is just to make you guys think. This is to make, well, you guys, you people, everybody, think a little bit. We go through life so fast and so furious, doing this, getting this, running here, doing this, taking care of the kids. Everyone's going to soccer, lacrosse, baseball, whatever. Stop and think for a minute, because the stuff, the stuff that happened to me probably is not going to happen to you. The stuff that happened to you is probably not going to happen to you, but it can. Right?
There's always that.
And when it happens, there's no going back.
that's right. Don't take it for granted.
And look
You know,
at
take
how
life for
you
granted.
rose from it.
Yeah, but I'm never getting life insurance again. I have my life insurance from the time I was 35. I can't get any more. I can't even move it from the company and send it to my company because I'll never pass a medical. So
I
I
tried
can't
to
do
increase
it.
it. I tried to increase
Can't do
mine.
it, right?
And they turned around, they would let me. And I had it
Someone
from,
that may need disability insurance
Right.
or long-term care, like myself or yourself,
Right, I can't get it either.
we can't get it.
That's right,
And
that's
if
right.
you can get it,
It's a-
you'll
forget
have to
it.
mortgage your house.
Forget, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And you
Just
may
to
not
pay
even
them.
need it.
And I was going to say.
So there
It's
are
true.
so many, and that's why people don't really even look at those type
Options,
of products.
right.
But there are different ways to attain that same financial end.
And you
Everybody
know,
works
and you know the
differently.
ways.
Yeah, because I've spent enough time to sit down and think about how do we do it, and I
You're the
I
expert.
take my time. Yeah, and my partners and I, we take our time and we go through it in detail. But this was really just think, guys. Just
Do you
think
do
about
house
what's
visits?
happening.
Do you do house visits? Or
Oh, always. Oh, I
And
always.
sometimes
visit
people
houses.
can't.
Get
Of
out.
course.
Good.
No,
That's
I'll
really important. That's very
Visit your
important.
house, and even in COVID, I have a new client in my town who asked me to come over and if I wouldn't mind meeting in the backyard.
That's
Sure.
great.
I
So
mean,
now, have you ever? I used to work at Abilities
Okay.
in Roslyn. Have you
Yep.
been there?
No, I have not.
Well, I'll give you a
You
little
can
tip.
make a nice introduction for me.
You should go and talk to all the families.
Well,
Do you know how many thousands?
let's set up an
people live there?
Let's set up an
Yeah.
introduction.
Abilities is
Valentina.
an amazing place.
You gave me bread.
That's
Now give me some
You gave me
referrals.
bread.
I don't know
Okay.
about that. We'll see.
She'll give
I
you
will.
something else, but that's another
No, I will.
Anyway, we want to just thank us. I want to thank
Thank
you
you.
so very much for
I
being on the
appreciate
show.
it, Greg. Thank you.
You're definitely
You're
going to be
great.
back. You definitely,
Yeah, you're
definitely
very
have to come back.
informative. And
One of the
plus
guys,
you're
Maybe,
one of the
maybe I'll
guys
sing
go-
next time.
One of the guys turned around and goes, "He's such a comedian. I like him." So
Yeah,
someone
you
one
are
of
a
the fans,
comedian.
yeah.
You're gonna put
Hey,
you-
So,
F you.
Hey,
Anyway,
we're gonna put you on the stage one
That's
night.
it.
How's that?
I once had, and we're at the end, but I do have a story. I had my 5 minutes of fame at the Gotham Comedy Club.
Oh.
I was holding a fundraiser for my foundation that we mentioned earlier, and I run a foundation for MS and raising money for MS.
What's the name of it?
The Great Eight
Great
Eight
Eight?
Foundation.
Wow,
Yeah,
I never
we've
heard
raised
that.
money. We've raised about $1.4 million
Whoa.
It's great.
up for about 10 years before I got sick, and all through cycling events, like
Oh.
500 miles, 6 days events, circling Lake Ontario, riding
People
from
love
Maine
that.
to Times Square,
That's
going from
amazing.
Boston to DC, that type of thing. And we've done some good stuff. So I forgot where this was
You were
going.
going about, you had a moment of fame.
Oh yeah, so we had this fundraiser, and I know one of the guys that owns the Gotham, and he hosted it for us. It was great. I tied up some money in it, and at the last minute, a famous comedian, I don't want to say who it is, even though the story was
Why not? You
publicized.
probably know.
He's a pretty big name. He's on TV. He's an international dude, and he was coming in to work some new material. And they said, "Would you mind if so-and-so comes on?" Yeah, great. It's better than Bob Smith and Joe Blow. I was like, "Yeah, great, bring them on. If they don't mind, I don't mind." And he comes on, and he's doing some material, and a couple of hecklers in the audience. and this guy's wife is in the audience. His wife was with them, and they heckle him, and he tones them down. They heckle him again, and then his wife says something out loud, like like an anti-heckle, and they start to heckle her, and they start this argument, and he jumps off the stage, runs into the audience, and starts hitting one of the guys.
Oh my God.
And then the other guy starts hitting him. Chaos ensues. Lights go up. It gets
That's
a
a
little
show.
crazy. It was it at the show. So now the whole thing, I'm going to go, oh, God, this is my fundraiser. Like, I'm going to be out about $6-7 grand. I don't know what just happened here. And all of a sudden, a good friend of mine, Gerard, he jumps up onto the stage. He grabs the mic. He goes, listen. Before we forget why we're here, I'm going to ask Mike to come up and just remind us why we're here. So I get up, and I'm about to talk about, the foundation and its mission, and I go, I'm on stage at the God. I got to do something. So I start going through this like small little improv thing I did. However, like I just thought of some shit. I did it.
You're on the mark. You just can do it.
And it was interesting, but there was a reporter or a journalist, if you want to call them that, from there was a Time Out magazine. You ever hear of Time Out?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were there.
They're still around.
So
That's funny.
a week later, some assistant on the desk goes, look, I have Time Out, and you're in it. And they wrote about the whole
Really?
thing.
Oh,
my God.
wow. That's great.
And it was great. And I was like, that's my claim to fame. I
That's
bought
it.
like 10 copies.
I was
and
going
I
to
put
say,
them
did
in
you
my-
frame
Yeah,
it? Did you
yeah,
frame it?
yeah.
You got to frame those
But that
things.
was my little comedy
That's
thing.
it.
It was
Very
fun.
nice.
Yeah, it was
Well,
fun.
it's been a pleasure. Do you have some cards to
Thank
give
you,
me?
thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
Yeah.
you can give it to you after the show for crying out
Oh,
loud.
right.
Here,
Oh, my God.
have some
I
cards.
believe in cards.
Ace of spades.
Listen.
Go ahead.
This is the seed,
And
okay?
here,
Everybody
start
should have
squeezing,
cards.
start squeezing.
Yeah.
Squeeze.
All
Okay,
right,
good.
so
I want to
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Really,
My pleasure,
really
Greg.
appreciate it.
You I don't know about. My pleasure.
There you go.
yeah,
I
you
like
see,
that.
I'm
There we
the
go.
nice
There we
one.
go,
There we
buddy.
go.
When I'm in trouble, I'm the one that found
We
it.
want to thank
You got it.
our sponsors, Oro Piero, Teddy. We love you, and Christine. How are you? I hope all is well. And Tranquility Spa, which is located at 700 Franklin Avenue. It's a great spa,
Gotta
and
go.
I have to tell you the best place in the world to go to
All
get
right.
loosened up, relaxed, and yeah,
Great
they really do some outrageous massage on your legs and your back, and they have a beautiful salt cave.
Nice.
And then we have QS training where everyone should learn how to do CPR because you never know when you're going to need that, I'm telling you. So we want to thank them and Mr. Mike Zimmits. So it's Zimmits
What
or
a star. Mr.
Zimmits.
Zimmits.
Like limits, what is he?
Okay.
Yeah, do they call you anything? Like, do you have a nickname?
Yeah,
like
Big Mike.
Zibby or...
Big Mike.
I love-
Actually,
First of all, I
actually, in the
love
office, they
Mikes.
call me Zimmy. That's
Zimmy?
what-
Okay,
yeah,
I like
Zimmy,
that. I
yeah.
like
How did I know that?
Zimmy,
There you
and
go.
occasionally I get the hey a-hole. But other than that,
But
they don't-
besides that,
they
you're
don't
great.
just- Yeah.
Well, you're
So
like
we-
one of 14 mics I know.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And
That's
I like
wonderful.
you.
They,
I like usually
I'm
like
pretty
Mike's.
much I pretty much go by Mike, by Mike Z. Like everyone's like, oh
Mikey
yeah,
Z,
Mike
Mikey
Z,
Z,
because there's
Mikey
so
Z,
many
yeah.
Mikes,
Right,
so
right,
like Mike
right.
Z.
Do you want to
So-
you want
we
to
want-
squeeze this?
Okay. You
Sure.
you
Does
go
something
squeeze the
special
stuff
happen when
later.
I squeeze it?
Anyway, thank you so much. And the show, and it's a
Is that a wrap?
wrap.